Pulling is one of the strongest tools that a support has in lane to help his carry thrive. When the lane pushes, you can pull, denying farm from the enemy, resetting your creep wave, and preventing the support from stopping it unless he loses experience from the creeps that are dying under his tower. So all of that good stuff. On the dire side, there's a way to pull that makes it even harder for the enemy support to stop your pull, and all you need is a Quelling Blade or a Tango to eat this tree. When you go for this pull, since you can do it earlier than normal, you also reduce the window the enemy support has to stop you if the lane was pushed. When the creeps are positioned like this, it is very hard for the enemy to actually drag the creeps from that area. This means he's gonna take a lot of damage if he tries to do so, and well, if he doesn't do anything, it's always gonna be good for you. By the way, you don't even need to always eat the tree. In this replay, No Tail pulls it off by positioning in this tree area. This is harder to do if the small camp neutrals are not ranged though. That said, since the range creep came from the right side and the creeps run straight around the trees, it's much harder for Rubik to draw aggro safely without taking damage. And this is why this pull is so good. It's done so early that the enemy support is gonna be a little late, and then he can't just be in position to drag the creeps instantly. Pulling is also always better when you have a stacked small camp or when you pull into the large camp, because it will kill all the creeps that you dragged and properly reset the wave instead of pushing it further. That said, when the creep wave is already where you want it, you can get an edge in your lane by half pulling. Half pulling denies experience even when you didn't stack your small camp, and it doesn't mess with the equilibrium, because creeps will march towards your carry. Half pulling can be done on either the small camp or the large camp, but it is much easier on small camp. When you have range neutrals, all you have to do is time their projectile with your approach to the lane creeps so that most of them are already passed. Unless you can get a kill in lane or your carry is 10% HP, whenever your lane is static and where you want it to be, this trick allows you to win the experience game without giving anything away. Remember though, that stacking a camp and fully denying a wave is always going to be better. One common trick among every high MMR player is selecting all of the items you will need in the next 5 minutes and allocate them in your quick buy. This allows you to lose less time, since every time you open the shop to look for them, you might lose a creep, you might not react fast enough to help your core that gets ganked, and if you get ganked yourself, you have the option to buy stuff and thus lose less gold. As a support, the gold lost in deaths matters a ton, because you're not gonna farm a lot, especially since unlike other roles in Dota, you have a lot of small items like dust, sentries, TPs, clarities and mangoes that you constantly need, and buying them prevents you from losing gold since you cannot lose what you don't have. Make sure to get a hotkey for a quick buy and you will 100% notice a difference in your map awareness and also item timings. Support players in general are okay with the idea of giving their life away for their cores to live. Very often though, they don't do it in the best way possible. In this clip, we have No Tail chilling when his Sven gets engaged. The enemy knows Sven is worth more than No Tail is, and when you identify situations like this, you have the power to put your body in between the enemy and your ally. This forces the enemy to make a choice. They either choose to kill Sven while you dish as much damage as possible, or they focus on killing you. The thing with worse players is that they often accept dying as the best case scenario when they are able to lure the enemy to themselves. But watch what No Tail does. This is the exact moment Dire decides No Tail is the better target, but No Tail knows that Mirana is very low HP and has to disengage, or else she will feed First Blood and No Tail is fine with that. He also knows the power of Fog. The first things pros do that you should as well covers a lot of the fog tricks that pros use. You can watch the video here. And basically, they are the best area possible in situations like this. Not only he runs towards trees that are in the direction his friends are, but he keeps getting in and out of vision to stop the Frost Blast animation, giving First Blood to his carry that was probably going to feed First Blood if he just decided that Sven was to blame from being where he was. Using your HP pool as bait correctly is much harder than it seems, but will completely change when you start getting good at this. This is gonna sound simple, and it is. Don't give your safe lane tower for free. A lot of times, supports feel obligated to join their cores in every fight happening around the map. And while that's completely okay when you had a good game and when you already have your spells, in this game, Kret did a lot, but he struggled with experience and gold since Shaker isn't really a great position 5 hero, he doesn't lane that well. For around 2 minutes, he camps the top lane to defend it and get experience. Since his carry is a Nature's Prophet, he is being active around the map, but this also applies if his carry was jungling, for instance. Very rarely you should allow a solo hero to take your safe lane tower, and in this case, he knows Void Spirit is the only hero top because a lot of fighting is going around. So even after the first engagement, since he knows the cooldowns are over, he keeps drawing aggro, leeching experience, and protecting the tower. Watch how carefully Kret goes about defending it. He draws aggro from the other side of the map towards his tower to make it much harder for Void Spirit to engage. And even though he dies, not only he forced a lot of resources from the enemy offlaner, he also sets up a kill for Storm in the end. Another very important trick that is super easy to execute but support players forget is at their disposal is using level power spikes to dominate a lane. In that same AA game, Sven gets his level 2 before Doom and Mirana because of the First Blood, and watch how No-Tail and him play. You as a support can coordinate this and tell your carry to use that level 2 as soon as possible. This lane is not even that amazing in terms of level 2 power spike. But even still, the extra HP and damage and the fact that Dire doesn't have their level 2s is enough of a reason for them to play like this. When you play aggressive after you get your level 2, you're not only using your power spike, but you keep denying experience from the enemy. When they go on Doom, since now Mirana cannot lane and is waiting for a salve, not only No-Tail gets First Blood, but he can stack and pull afterwards. This is what I meant at the beginning. When you properly harass and zone the enemy, you can stack and pull with no worries because Mirana is going to lose so much if she gives up the creeps under tower, not only staying level 1, but in this case, she also risks dying. Note that No-Tail also realizes that after Dire is zoned, he has no business trying to deny creeps or look for Sven, he runs to get the small camp stack. A lot of players think that pulling twice in a row is always wrong, and a couple of years ago that was maybe considered wrong, but in this day and age, with the tower aura, carries are fine farming under tower, especially if that also means you're denying experience from the enemy at the same time. In that replay, No-Tail pulls right after denying the first wave, and the reason for this is that Dire doesn't have a lineup that can punish Sven under tower. Doom and Mirana cannot dive Sven. Against a Batrider or a kill potential hero, this could have been a bad decision, but not this game, so play scenarios in your head on whether it's actually gonna be dangerous or not for you to pull for your carry twice. Finally, I have a summary on when is it okay to leave your lane as a position 5 made by Mangus. He's a 7.5 KMR player that is coaching me live on stream, so maybe check that out, but this is what he has to say about it. I know this is a very frequent question, so enjoy.
As a position 5, your main focus has to be on your carry. Your rotations have to be only the ones around the minute 4 runes and minute 6 runes, in case you have a matchup on mid that is focused a lot on the power runes. You might also want to TP to mid in case your mid laner is getting dove, since there's not so much terrain to travel back. And then one very good move that happens many times is the TP to offlane. Now you need to watch out for a few things. First of all, you don't want to TP to the offlane while the enemy minute 5 catapult is still alive, because many times that means that the enemy can mount a push there and deal some damage to your tower. And you also want to only TP to the offlane in case your safe laner will not die to the enemy position 3 and position 4, and he will be able to bully the position 3. It doesn't have to be fine in the lane. If he's fine in the lane, you should not leave him. You should stay in the lane and make sure that you guys win it. You only want to leave it if he owns that lane alone. As you can see in that replay, the Doom and the Mirana could not kill the Sven, and the Sven was owning that lane at that point. The Doom could not get last hits if the Sven was in lane. So that's why it was fine for him to leave. Now, if you want to go to the offlane, it's really good to go around the catapult at minute 5. Do not go to your offlane if they are winning it and there's no objective to take. Only go in case they are struggling or you have a catapult ready to take the tower.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Mangus has a Gamersensei that you can find in the description, and he is helping a lot with the channel and the video, so make sure to drop on stream to learn more from him or get some coaching with the guy.